So I wanted to talk to y'all today about how I build my arrows. And I messed around with arrows throughout the years in the course of my life, shooting archery and bow hunting. And I've never settled for good enough. I always try to get everything as perfect as possible, especially when I go out into the woods hunting. I want to be able to know that whenever I grab an arrow out of my quiver, that it's going to fly the same no matter which arrow that I grab. And we're going to go through everything on how I build these and how you can get arrows as straight and as equal to each other as you possibly can. So let's go over a few things you'll need. So what you're going to need and what I use is an arrow scale, wraps if you want wraps, a pad, and a pin. Pad's got two different uses. I use the Pine Ridge Instant Arrow Glue, an arrow square tool, obviously your arrows, your vanes. I use tack vanes. These are the 2.75s. They fly real good as far as what I use them for throughout my bows and from what I've seen in tournaments and everything else. And another thing that I like is whenever I shoot an animal with these, they're a stiff vane and they have a tendency to clean the wound channel out whenever you get a pass through. You're gonna need some baby wipes or Q-tips and denatured alcohol to be able to wipe off your vanes and make sure you got a clean surface through that. So the very first thing that I do before I ever cut my arrows is look at your poundage, your draw length, what you're going to be hunting, what your goal is, whether you want FOC, whether you want a heavy arrow, whether you want to build an arrow to shoot long distance and still get an oomph in it. For me, for my setup, my bow is 77 pounds. I try to stay within that 450 to 480 range. That seems to tune the best and keep me in the 290 feet per second, which with all the bows that I've had, for me, that's what has tuned the best at 290 and that's what shot the best, and I'm still able to shoot out to 100 and 110 yards with it. So keep in mind, have a goal at where you want your arrows to be at and then build them from there. Now the first thing that I'll do is before I ever cut my arrows, I'll take my knockout, and whichever side you cut from first, I cut mine from both ends. These are 1/1000ths straightness shaft. These are the Victory VAP TKOs 300 spine. And what I'll do is I'll cut from both ends of the arrow shaft down, but before I cut, I'm gonna square off my back end that I'll be spinning on the arrow saw. So first things first, stick it in, hold even pressure. You ain't gotta hold too much, just hold it in there. It's keep it steady. Run it back and forth. Make sure you got a good square end. All right, now it's time to cut it. Okay, so we already cut the back half of this arrow shaft. Then we're gonna go through and square up our other end after we cut it. And then cut it one more time. All right, so once I cut my shafts down on both sides, I'm gonna go back through a third time and then square up both ends on them again. And make sure whenever you square these ends up that you kind of blow off your sandpaper on the squaring tool. Go back over and check it. Looks pretty good. All right, so there's that. So now once I got these all squared up, I'll stick my nock in. And then here's the other use for the notepad. I'll grab my notepad, lay it down flat, and then I'll get my wraps from Tack. I'll lay that down on the notepad, square everything up. Make sure we're all even. And roll my wrap on. And like I said, this is an optional thing. I just like to pimp out my arrows because if I miss something, at least I look good doing it. Now, once you have all 6 of your arrows cut, 12, whatever, you got all your arrows cut, got them wrapped, then we're gonna go through and we're gonna weigh them. We're gonna weigh every single arrow, and this is where the notepad comes in again. We're gonna write down arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, how many arrows you have, and then take your outserts, inserts, half outs, whatever you got, and you're gonna weigh every single one of them and number them 1 through whatever. And we're gonna write down and we're gonna compare and see the grain difference between the arrows and the grain difference between the outserts, and then do the mathematical equation of what arrow will end up being what, and then match up the arrow to the outserts to get everything within a half grain. And this is a very, very critical step to take if you want your arrows to hit tight groups at farther distances. Weighed it 267.2. Okay, so we'll take the notepad just for viewer's sake, and we got 267.2. And then we'll take our outsert, weigh it 50.2 grains. So we have 50.2 grains. If you really want to get real technical with this, I have weighed my fletchings out before, my veins, and matched them up with arrows and got every vein that was exactly the same grain, and then put it on them arrows to mate it. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. So once you do your mathematical equation, you get all your arrows and your outserts matched up, then it's time for gluing. And that is why I really like this glue here from Pine Archery, is because it can double for insert glue, and it is stout stuff. So we'll come in and we will glue the outsert in. And this is where baby wipes come in handy too. Clean off your excess. Now, before you fletch your arrows, once you get your outserts, inserts glued in, you got everything squared up, you got your wraps on, everything, before you square your arrows, here's the biggest thing, one of the other biggest things you can do is, I already know which way mine's coming out, but I will take a dot and I will mark a dot on the top of the shaft, and I will stand right up on the target, point blank, and I will shoot, and I will see which way that dot rotates out of the bow, and I will fletch my arrows with the same rotation that it comes out of the bow. And your rotation could vary. What varies your rotation is the way your servant's twisted on your string will determine the way your arrow comes out of your bow. What I've noticed is for a right-handed shooter, it'll want to come out and spin to the left. If you're a left-handed shooter, sometimes it wants to come out and spin to the right, away from the riser, depending on what handed shooter you are. but it's always an awesome idea to go out there and test it yourself and just be sure, because I have seen them do it opposite ways. So once we got that done, now it's time for the fun part. Get my Bitzenberger set up. I have mine set on a 3-degree 4-fletch offset. The way that I glue mine is, when you come in, you can mark, you can fletch as high up on it, as far back on it that you want. It's all personal preference, how you want to fletch it on your shaft. Main thing is, Bitzenberger gives you these nice tally marks here. You can get a marker and you can mark which one you use all the time to make sure that your fletchings match up the same every single time. So what I'm gonna do now is take my baby wipe or a primer pen, Q-tip, and alcohol. I just don't happen to have some right now, or that's what I would be using. You'll take your wipe or whatever you got, and you'll run it down that vein, and you'll clean that vein off. Clean it off real good, get it dried off. Clean your glue end off. Glue the dadgum paper to your hand. And the way that I glue mine, I do not drench mine in glue, but a good way to get good, clean, even fletchings, even glue job, no dirty mess, is I'll go through and I'll just put a couple dots on this fletching here. And then I'll rub it in with the tip. Nice even coating all the way through. And then here's the biggest thing. If you get a little bit too much glue on there, take it, roll it on a flat surface real quick, gets rid of that excess glue. Stick your clamp in. Always start from the bottom and roll your clamp forward. For me, that gets a more consistent glue in, it seems like. Press it down a little bit. I see the glue coming out. Take a Q-tip, your rag, whatever you got. Go down the edge, clean that excess glue off the edge. Now I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna get this all fletched up, and then I'm gonna weigh it against my other arrows, and we're gonna see how it ended up turning out. Okay. So we got this arrow nice and fletched out. Got a nice clean fletching job on it. Got everything looking good. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through and we're gonna weigh all the arrows that we got done with the system that we used just like this, and see how close they come together that we previously fletched up, cut, done the same system on. We're gonna measure all of them without field points in them to get a better accurate read and see what we come out with. 342. $342.6. 342.8. 342. 342.2. So every arrow is within a half a grain of each other. So I hope this helps you out, guys. I know it helped me out. It's going to make you that much more confident of an archer and that much more accurate of an archer whenever you go into the woods or out in the tournament. So good luck to you guys this season, and I hope this tip helped you out.